Bob Iger gets it, and he's got a mess on his hands at Disney, just like they've got a mess on their hands at Fox. Here's Iger speaking with my former colleague, by the way, at CNBC, David Faber, out at Sun Valley, saying he's getting rid of those things that just aren't the future watch.
Transformative work is dealing with businesses that are no-growth businesses and what to do about them, and particularly the linear business, which we are expansive in our thinking about, and we're going to look expansively about opportunities there, because clearly it's a business that is going to continue to struggle.
Well, let's stop there for a second then and let me ask you about it. We're talking, I guess, ABC, the network, the stations, but then the cable networks as well.
Yes, correct.
FX, Nat Geo. Is it possible you would look to sell them?
We're going to be expansive. I think if you can interpret what that word means.
All right, I'm just going to interpret it for you. Expansive in this particular case means, yeah, we're going to look to sell them. We're going to look to sell them because, you know what, that is not the future. So for Fox right now, I mean, I would say I don't think they have an especially talented management team in place. I think this is a management team that kind of doesn't quite know what to do. I think a strong management team would never have been in the situation that they were in regarding Dominion to begin with. I mean, you're talking about nearly $1 billion that company had to pay because the place was not being, quote unquote, managed. At some point, you know, as a network, you know, I say one of the things I don't like about networks, right, is that they're all kind of top down. Let me go back a few years, because when I started at Fox, it actually was quite liberating because you really were in charge of your show in a way that I hadn't seen in places, other shops like NBC or Bloomberg or any other places. So I was really impressed with that. But once the old regime left and Roger Ailes was kicked to the curb, you had his former assistant taking over. And, you know, look, I mean, again, it's playing people to their strengths. I'm a big believer. And, you know, not everybody can be the quarterback. Some people are really good at some things. Some people are really good at 8 o'clock at night, and others are really good at 8 o'clock in the morning. So you just have to know the talent you've got. And that includes within the executive suite. So they don't have decision makers there that are really leading. And I think that eventually is what probably cost them so much in terms of Dominion, because it's just not being well run. And this is nothing against her. She's a lovely, lovely, lovely person, really and truly. But it's not easy. I mean, like, I wouldn't wish that job on my worst enemy. Can you imagine all these giant personalities under one roof? How do you really control that? I mean, it's hard, and, you know, you can't. And now everybody's got an option because they can come right here and be all the personality they want to be and not have to deal with the infrastructure of all that management. So I think in the old days, it was actually well run in that people didn't go too far off the reservation, so to speak. I probably shouldn't say that. That's very anti-PC, but you know what I'm saying. Like, you could, you know, kind of stay in a certain lane, and that has since changed. But it doesn't necessarily matter, because what are the options? Like, Murdoch could say, okay, well, we're going to bring in some hotshot whoever to run this who hasn't worked here before. And immediately, you're going to have the whole organization say, well, no way, because we want someone at least who has a history at the company. Who else is there? I mean, I can't tell you. I don't think that they have anybody talented enough to step into those shoes. But logically speaking, if I'm a shareholder, all I want is the cash out of the company, right? So I don't want to pay someone a ton of money to come in and fix it all. If anything, maybe I look to do what Bob Iger's doing. Bob Iger is going to sell his news divisions, and he's going to sell them not to like a hot tech company. They're going to the private equity companies that are going to bleed them for every single last dollar. In other words, they are going to make them operationally extremely efficient. And that's what you're looking. I mean, hey, you don't have to have a growing business or a huge business or even be number one in the ratings to succeed. You can still make money. And maybe that's the reality that they need to bring themselves to. Maybe they're there already. But I can tell you, I do think, Craig, I saw that. You guys are trying to test me on whether or not this is live. It is live. Haha. Anyway, I do think that the challenge going forward is going to be, how do you continue to grow that audience share while simultaneously walking this little tightrope, right? Because everybody's watching you, and the media is going to say, well, oh my gosh, he said this or she said that. And if you're panicked about that and you don't have the strength and the ability to kind of stick up for yourselves and stick up for your people, then it's game over. I mean, they're just a shell of what they once were. And I don't really care. As Rhett Butler said, I don't really give a damn, do I? Anyway, just it's fascinating to see all these changes in the media industry. A quick shout out to our friends over at Legacy Precious Metals before I get to my next story, which would be Donald Trump and the craziness there. Anyway, Legacy Precious Metals, that is a wonderful organization that I am happy to partner with. They were actually the first sponsor on this show. Charles was just on the show yesterday saying some really interesting things about commercial real estate and his concerns about what that would mean for balance sheets as we go into the rest of the year. He does believe that interest rates are going to go up. I would agree with him on that. And that's going to have an effect on what all these banks are holding. So even if it feels like, okay, they're telling you, the Biden administration's like, okay, inflation's getting better, it's not really. We're still up 16% from where we were before this administration took over. And you're still dealing with the reality of higher interest rates in the future, which are going to be really problematic. So with all that said, if you're nervous about it and you're thinking of investing in gold or silver, go over to legacypminvestments.com. You are welcome to use my name if you call them. Like I said, they're good friends and they will take very good care of you. 1-866-589-0560. So it is a crazy time indeed. Donald Trump, again, I can't even keep up with it. This time getting indicted yet again because, that just seems to be the move du jour. Go after Trump any which way you can. They so badly either want him out of this race, or I have another theory here. Are they actually trying to make sure that he wins the nomination? Because every single time this happens, what do you see? The polls show up with him getting a big spike, because naturally, I get it. Like, Americans don't like this. Why? We don't like the idea of a so-called witch hunt going on. And considering that they've done this once, twice, 3 times before, well, we're getting kind of tired of it. We're getting kind of sick of it. And so you see, of course, people rally around him. And there are some that believe that this is very deliberate. The Democrats do want him to win because they think that when push comes to shove, I mean, they know they got a lousy candidate by way of Joe Biden, who, by the way, just announced that his campaign headquarters are going to be at his home in Delaware. Because, of course, that way he doesn't ever have to leave home. He can stay in that basement to his heart's content, and it'll be a wonderful campaign. Joe Biden is a terrible candidate, and they know that. So they want this to be a vote against Trump as opposed to a vote for Biden. Like, nobody's going to vote for Biden because why would you? Like, policy is a mess. He's a mess. I mean, he can barely talk, and his son's a mess. I mean, I can go on and on and on. We know that he has not been what you would consider a good president. In fact, if you look at all the poll numbers, the majority of Democrats do not want him to run. So what are you going to do? I mean, if DeSantis runs against him, and I'm not like a big DeSantis fan necessarily, but if DeSantis runs against him, well, then that's some real competition. If anyone runs against him, by the way, Trump is some real competition as well. They absolutely should not dismiss him. But I think they're suspecting, if we just go after him enough legally over and over and over and over again, well, then people will get exhausted. Right? There's that sort of exhaustion effect that happens when they can only take so much incoming on the news front. So we'll see how this all shakes out. I mean, it's just kind of outrageous, and it makes me feel like we really are in that banana republic we talk about. But anyway, I just thought I would share that interesting little ratings news for you. Like I said, it's neither here nor there, and he's going to be there for a while. So we'll see whether or not he can recover. But even if he can, I think the reality is just this. The reality is cable's done. Streaming is the future. Content matters. Individuals matter. And that's why, cheers to you. Good to have you here. Hey everyone, Trish Regan here. If you enjoyed that clip, please do me the favor of subscribing to the channel. Just hit that little subscribe button right over there. Did I do that right? Not quite, but you know where it is. Subscribe to the channel. Hit the bell so that you get the alerts, and I'll see you back on the show.